Council meeting for Monday, July 7th, 2025. Can we have the moment of silence before we say the pledge today? We are just over half of the year of 2025. And there are a lot of things happening in our world and in our country. I would like everyone to think of their own personal reflections today, and hope and keep everyone's safety and health at the forefront of their mind. We can rise, we'll have a moment of silence, and then the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Miss Debbie?
Here.
Miss House?
Here.
Mr. Panza?
Here.
Mr. Ray?
Here.
Miss Schwartz? Mr. Tutora?
Present.
Miss Barron?
Here.
Mayor Shank?
Present.
Need to move to the approval of the minutes. We have a few minutes to approve tonight. So first up, we need a motion for the June 2nd conditional use hearing. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Do we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Any abstains? Okay, those minutes pass. Next, we have it for the June 2nd meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, in regard to the mayor's report, it indicates in number F, on the page for Green Tree Borough received the banner community award again this year. And that is correct. But my point was 85 communities received the banner community award. So yes, we did receive it. Yes, that's good. But 85 other communities, 130 received it. And a lot of those 130 did not apply. So basically, I'm sorry, it was participation award. So good that we received it, but I would like to reflect. I did point out last time 85 communities received the best community.
Was it 85 communities or is it 85 participants? Because
Yes.
there are multiple entities that receive it, and not necessarily all communities. Like the Munhall Sanitary Sewer. Yes.
I looked at that, and yes, there were 85. 5 of them, I counted them, 5 of them were not municipalities or townships. Yes, the sanitary sewer authority, 80 municipalities, 5 of them being sanitary authorities or otherwise.
Yeah, a lot of communities don't want to bother to put a system together to show quality, so they ignore it, and we chose to do that. So
And that is good.
it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. I agree. It's 100% it's a good thing, but just the minutes, I did indicate that others received it. So that was my point.
I'm on the website right now and I'm counting more than 5 entities. I'm on it right now.
So we
We
can count.
should
But
get
it's
that
no-
clear.
It's no more than 10. I'm not a gambler, but I've bet on no more than 10 other than townships and boroughs.
Yeah, I agree with you, but if we're rising it to the point that you want it reflected in the minutes, I think that it should be accurate in the minutes.
So on the minutes, 85 people got the banner community award, up to 10, less than 10 were storage authorities and others, 75 townships and boroughs received the community banner award. Thank you.
Well, then I want to just for the record clarify, Mayor, as you know, there's 133 municipalities in Allegheny County. I mean, most people forget about municipalities like Wall, Osborne, Leedsdale. So there is 133 municipalities in Allegheny County.
I accept that correction. It's 133, not 130, as I previously said.
Okay, we had a motion, we had a second, we had discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains?
Does everyone know where Wall is at? What Wall is next to?
I don't know where Wall is.
The Wall is next to a place that had a Winkies.
You want to tell me that?
Wilmer, you're
Oh,
too
Mr.
young. I'm
Wilmer
sorry,
did?
you're too
Okay.
young.
Yeah, I don't know Winkies, but I know
Okay.
Wilmer did. All right, so that is approved. We're on the June 9th, 2025 public meeting. Do we have a motion? We have a motion, do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Yeah, there's, one on page 4, it says anonymous resident. I don't recall having, how do we have an anonymous resident?
I had somebody come up and I listened to it multiple times and did not hear them ever say a name.
Okay, so they were,
They were
Here.
here, yes.
okay.
I just never got a name.
For that clarification.
So should we say, is that how you do it in the minutes? You say anonymous if you don't have?
I've never had that come up before, so I wasn't sure.
Okay.
I think we can say anonymous, that they were, but make sure it was clear that they were in person, that they
Okay.
spoke in person. Any other discussion, questions? We have a motion to approve, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Any abstains?
Abstain.
All right, we can now move on to the hearing of the citizens. All persons wishing to address general business or agenda items can come up and state your name and your address and be heard at this time.
Christine Short, 251 Park Edge. Speaking about summer recreation, it's almost over. I think we have a couple weeks left. We had 210 children, kids sign up. A shout out to Jen Matthews and her assistant, Amelia Folkmeyer and Abby Sarkowski. All the counselors, all the volunteers, and all the junior volunteers. Without them, we wouldn't be able to have the capacity of the kids that we have. I understand it's going really smoothly, everything's good. So like again, I think we have a couple more weeks left. 4th of July at the pool, it was a huge success. The pool was packed. I don't think I've ever seen that many people in the pool. A lot of people came up. I heard them thank Jen Matthews. Job well done. Farmers Market, I also want to do a shout out to Amelia Folkmeyer. She has done a phenomenal job posting this stuff on the borough website, Facebook page, and social media. We had some rains, torrential downpours over there, but we have a lot of people coming over, utilizing the market. We have concerts in the park already starting. The next event for the recreation board is the senior picnic. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of council. My name is Susan Durham. I reside at 1027 Dale Drive. The reason I am here today is due to the stormwater management issue which I experienced last week. On Tuesday, there was a storm that came through. It may not have impacted anyone here very much, but it impacted me greatly. I emailed everyone video of myself walking through my yard wearing a pair of Wellington boots. I had to walk through 8 inches of water. The easement behind my house, which is behind my house, borders Tomato, Dan Walsh's property. It was a swimming pool. It was filled with sludge and it has overflowed again. This has been a recurring issue with my house. I have lived here since 1999, and every 5 to 6 years, this thing overflows like clockwork. It needs to be dredged out. And this has impacted quite a few properties in that area, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. I did speak to Ms. Miller on the day of the rain. She did send public works up, thank you very much. They did shovel out the entrance to the catch basin. However, that is a Band-Aid. There needs to be a big dredge, there needs to be clean out, and it is a bit of a mess. It is negatively impacting things down in that area. I mean, there's a significant drop from West Manila to the bottom of Dale. That water comes down, and a significant amount of water does flow down there. And I would like this to be called to the attention of everyone, because I know Mr. Walsh, who I don't see him here tonight, but he has experienced flooding also. Mr. Walsh has been active in the community for a long time, but, you know, he has pictures, I have pictures, and most people said, yeah, there was a thunderstorm. It, you know, for me, it was a mess. I had to clean up a lot of debris out of my yard, plastic toys, old golf balls, a lot of apples on an apple tree. Just, it was a mess. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and I wasn't sure if that was in the budget, but hopefully we can put it somewhere in the budget. So,
Is the catch basin on your property?
no, it is on Mr. Walsh's property, but there is a small, it looks like a retaining wall, but it's not really retaining anything. It was put in place by the previous owners back in the 70s at some point. But it was, I mean, in the videos that you guys have, it shows it looking, it's pretty cool. And there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. That is a hazard. If kids decide to go down there and play, that water is swirling and rushing. And also Dan Walsh told me there was sewage in there the last time it flooded, a couple of weeks ago. So I would hate to see some little kid go in there and get a bacterial infection. I mean, that's just not something we really want. But it is a safety hazard. So I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
And I will tell council that we're already discussing this as well as the Walsh property, possibly resolutions.
Okay, I just wanted to bring it to your attention because it doesn't affect that many people, but the people that it does affect, it affects them very negatively. So if you have any questions from me, I will be available after the meeting and we can discuss it. And thank you for your attention to this matter.
John Cobbler, 57 Rhodes Avenue. Actually, I have 3 items I'd like to bring up and see if we can get some sort of an update from council on. First thing was, a month ago, I brought up the Rhodes Avenue speed limit. I don't know if anyone has taken that up under discussion yet. I'd like to know if anything's being done. I did take a little better look at the speed limit signs on my road. And I believe there's 2 15-mile-per-hour speed limit signs, and that's it. As I requested before, I think we need to have a study done there to get the speed down a little bit from what it should be. I don't think anybody's going 50 mile an hour on that road. I know there's a lot of 135, 40 mile an hour. Don't sit on my front porch and watch them. I'd like to have a gun so I could shoot them, you know, and see what the speed limit actually is. But I think we need to get posted more signs, 15 mile an hour, because I'm telling you, nobody even knows they're there. I don't even know they're there, so I really looked at them after the last meeting. I think we need to paint on the roads, park 15 mile an hour coming up there. And I honestly think we need to put some sort of, I don't think we need bumps, but if we could just put those little white ridges, I believe they're painted on the roads. I see them in all other communities. That's almost like a rumble strip on the side of the highway. That you go over, you're going to hear it, you're going to slow down. Because as I said before, there's a lot of kids up there, you just talked about, right, how many kids are up there. And in the morning, when register went on, I don't see, there's not really a lot of traffic. So I'm not too worried about that. But we need to slow the traffic down. So I'd like to have someone get back to us as residents. Is there anything gonna be done about it? Because I haven't heard anything since I brought it up.
Yeah, I've been remiss. I did read the minutes, as obviously, you can tell from my prior comment, I read the minutes. But that reminded me of posting more signs and about the park. So I will look into it. I apologize if I did not do so the last month.
Okay.
Thank you for refreshing. my memory.
And while you're at it, the handicap sign that is right across the street from me, that was damaged when that tree came down in that storm. I don't know if it needs replaced or just bent back a little, maybe the maintenance crew could do something to straighten it out a little bit. There's one corner's bent over. Can't see the sign.
Thank you.
So that's the first thing. Poplar Street exit, I wasn't able to make the meeting we had, I guess it was last month, when we were talking about the redesign of the parkway with the exits. So I don't know what came about as far as that Poplar Street exit coming off the parkway. I just want to bring that up again because I'm for it. If we have to make it no trucks on that exit, then we can post that. And it's still, we put it in, let's put it in and see how it is. If it's a big problem, we got too much traffic, making a right-hand turn off that exit and going up Poplar Street through the residence, if that's a problem, then we make it left turn only. But I think while we got PennDOT doing this work, let's get it put in and see how it works. And if that doesn't work, then we shut it back up. But if they're gonna put the bill, let's have them do it and see how it works. That's my own opinion. And one other thing I had is the pool reconstruction. Seems like we haven't heard anything since the last time council voted on all the amenities. I'd like to see if we can get an update. We're hearing all kind of rumors. You won't believe some of the rumors I'm hearing, okay? Like we put this on hold till the next election. For what? These are rumors going on. So we're not getting communicated to as to what's going on. We don't know if it's on the bid.
Specifications are in the process of being finalized right now. We're expecting it to be advertised within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, so what's the plan for council? Are we gonna shut the pool down next year?
We can't do anything until we see what the plans are. We haven't voted on anything since that last time. There hasn't been any discussions because we're waiting for those plans. We
Okay,
can't
so
discuss it until we have that.
so council doesn't have any plans at this point as to when things are gonna happen.
So I would suggest that once we receive bids back, I think that will be telling as to what the bids come back at. And budget. And then from there, we can make a decision on contract award. A little bit of it may be dependent on I would see right now, this is tentative, that we could consider contract award in September. And then it would be up to the contractor for a start date. And then we could determine at that time how long they would want to complete the project.
Okay, I think as residents here, I mean, you can tell I've been to the pool a lot, okay? Pool seems fine, the heater's working great. Actually, it's probably too great because it heated the water up and now we had a 90-degree weather and now it's like walking into a bathtub. But that's okay, I'm all right with that. I really think that the pool is not in as bad a shape as what we think it might be from my perspective. And I would hate to see us put this out for bid and award the bid and have them start in November and push us into next season. My opinion, the smart thing to do, put out for bid. If a contractor can get started and guarantee they're gonna have it done by June 1st of next year, or May 1st, May 31st of next year, fine. If they can't do that, then let's open the pool up one more year and have them start next September, 2026.
It was implied, not stated. It's my understanding that the pool's gonna be open, until Labor Day.
Right, this
Because-
year,
Because, yes, this year.
this year,
Because of,
right.
the
We
bids.
did hear that, we did hear that. But I'm talking about, once the contract has been awarded, we need to have whoever's gonna do the work, say, okay, we'll have it ready for next season. Or if they can't, then we tell them, can you start in September 2026? And then we don't lose a season. It's just my opinion, it's common sense. Because that pool is really being used this year, more than ever. I mean, we were over there a couple times during the week in the 90-degree weather, and that pool was packed. We didn't have 750 people like July 4th, but it was pretty packed. So just take that into consideration. And again, if somebody can keep us updated on what's going on with Rhodes Avenue. And I know there's still, can you still go out to the PennDOT site and put in comments for the exit?
We do still have it posted.
Is council putting in any type of a,
We are, unless I get some comments this evening that would direct me otherwise, what I've already sent to council last week, will go to PennDOT tomorrow.
and is council for the installation of the Poplar Street exit?
I think it was, so that is the design. And there are concerns expressed with it as to how it will contribute to increased traffic on local.
I understand that.
Being expressed as a concern.
But again, my thoughts are, have them put it in, you can do a traffic study out there, put it in. And see what kind of issues you might have, and then you can put things in place to alleviate problems. That's just my opinion, it's smart thing to do.
So council created a list of concerns. We didn't necessarily put bullet points if we want this, we don't want this. We listed concerns after that meeting and compiled them along with the planning commission's concerns. And that is what got sent, or will get sent to PennDOT if there are no.
Yeah, I know
but
there
it was
are-
listed as a concern.
There are a bunch of residents I know that aren't for it, but I just want to give my opinion, I'm for it. I think it's gonna alleviate a lot of traffic going up the Green Tree Road. And especially if you post that exit, no trucks on this exit, let the trucks go up the Green Tree Road, that's your business road. That's not your residential road. So just post it, trucks have to use Green Tree exit. Residents, regular vehicles could use Poplar Street exit. Just my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle Bercheski, 1165 Tranter. I just want to add to Chris Short. I was at the pool July 4th. It was a wonderful day. It was very crowded. But I want to just give some shout outs to the lifeguards. They blew the whistle many times and had a lot of saves, near saves. They saw kids having a little trouble and they jumped in, so they need a huge shout out. They worked extra hard that day for the huge crowd, because then I was there Saturday, Sunday, and the whistle hardly blew. So they were very busy on Friday. The Rotary Club did a lovely job cooking up, because I walked in halfway through yours, so I don't know if you shouted them out. The DJ was wonderful. The summer rec kids did a great job. The face painting, I think was it Rose and Monroe? Who did the face painting? The kids were so great. Oh, they did beautiful. These kids' faces look professionally done. So I just wanted to give a shout out for all those people. And then just, again, the pool update, just hoping it stays open next summer. And if we go, if it's, I guess we're going with the smaller version, probably next summer at 4th of July, we'll have to have tickets to get into the water because it was so crowded. So, because of the smaller size, I was just trying to imagine how everybody would fit. Probably you guys were thinking the same thing. So, even the 5 foot club, we were a little crowded down at my end. So, we're appreciating the pool open this summer, so thank you.
Thank you.
Aldo Arcolati, 143 Sheldon, Pittsburgh, 15220. Just some comments. Thank you to council for your recent meeting regarding the parkway ramps and for sending the letter that you're going to be sending with some of the residents' concerns. We'll be waiting to see the copy. I understand the copy at some point will be published so that we will be able to see what you wrote. Concerning the Poplar Street ramp, during my comments, I have mentioned that I believe there was a weight limit restriction on Poplar Street, which I think needs to be considered regarding having a ramp there and perhaps trucks using that. I checked on that myself, and there is a couple of weight limit signs posted on Poplar Street there near the fire hall. On the swimming pool side of the road. One of them indicates, I believe, it's not specific, but I believe one of them indicates that Poplar Street has an 11-ton weight limit. And it is clearly marked at West Manila Avenue, which of course connects to Poplar Street, where traffic could go from Poplar Street onto West Manila to reach Green Tree Road. It says that West Manila also has an 11-ton weight limit. That's clearly noted. Now, I know the average everyday car and, pickup trucks and stuff aren't 11 tons. I don't know what an 11-ton vehicle actually looks like, but I think the borough would need to be concerned about that. And also PennDOT, because we wouldn't want that road to cave in or collapse. And I believe that Poplar Street and West Manila are both borough roads. So I believe something like that would perhaps fall on Green Tree's responsibility. So that's one comment about that. Another comment is concerning there's been two recent fires in our community. One was on the television concerning an auto body shop on Nobletown Road in the Rook sort of area near East Carnegie. And then I believe this Thursday evening, there was another fire along the Parkway, I believe, that could be seen from Park Edge Road. I happened to be coming home from the music in the park, which was very nice, on Thursday evening, and I could see smoke, and then I heard quite a few fire trucks. So I assume there was a fire along the Parkway. I want to thank the fire department for responding, of course, to these fires. And I did understand that a firefighter may have been injured in the first fire. And so, of course, I'm sending my well wishes, and I think the community should send our well wishes to whoever that might have been. And perhaps this will be addressed during the public safety report or otherwise. So I wanted to mention these two fires. And lastly, concerning the Parkway Center Giant Eagle, that store has closed recently. And I know it's just very recent. I know that's not in Green Tree there, but of course it's neighboring to Green Tree. And I think the Planning Commission or Borough Council should be concerned about what future is planned for that property, if any. And I know it might be too soon to know from contacting the property owner or whatever, but I think that should be kept in mind because it could be an eyesore, worse than it is now, in terms of economic development, public safety, and numerous other concerns. So I think that needs to be considered or kept in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we can move on to our new business and committee chair reports. Up first tonight is the Public Facilities, Parks, and Equipment. Ms. Schwartz isn't here. Do we have any report in her absence? I do not. Okay. We can move on to Public Safety and Equipment. Mr. Ray.
Public safety. In June, the Green Tree Police Department remained highly active, responding to 22 suspicious activity calls. 29 ambulance assists, making 4 warrant arrests. Officers admitted Narcan in an overdose case, and handled several mental health related calls, including supporting a juvenile assisting an elderly man with dementia. Highlights from the month include the arrest of a suspect responsible for $81,000 in damage at the car wash in Mansfield, thefts from unlocked vehicles with 1 arrest warrant issued. So I know we've had a lot of cars being broken into at night because of those cars being left unlocked, but we were able to identify one of the suspects and issue an arrest warrant. The recovery of a stolen vehicle connected to both NYPD and Pittsburgh PD. The department assisted surrounding communities with barricaded suspects, burglaries in progress, and an armed suspect call. They responded to a large disturbance that turned into roughhousing among friends, with 15 to 20 people. They handled multiple domestic disputes and resolved minor graffiti incidents, including one involving juveniles at the fire station. As was mentioned during the residents, hearing of the citizens, this month there was a serious car explosion at a mechanic shop on Nobletown Road. Led to a fire that damaged several apartment units and an auto body shop. 2 people were taken to the hospital. An employee working on the vehicle and a resident from the apartment above. The firefighter was evaluated on scene. Okay. The Allegheny County Fire Marshal is currently investigating. We'd also like to thank Pursuit's Restaurant, which is across the street from where the fire happened in East Carnegie, for their incredible support during the fire. Although their business was blocked off due to emergency response, their team stayed on site, brought out cool rags for responders, and provided pizza to help keep the emergency crews fed and fueled. Their generosity is a great example of community support that makes our community and our surrounding communities a special place. The Public Safety Committee met on June 16th to review the borough's response to the April 30th storm. The focus was on identifying improvement opportunities related to emergency preparedness. We came up with a few immediate next steps, which includes the borough office contacting the county to assess support for updating our emergency management plan. On PennDOT District 11 to explore solar-powered directional lighting, particularly for the center lane arrows when the power is down for those directional arrows. It included drafting a high-level plan to identify residents who may need assistance during future power outages and where they might be, what addresses they might be at, and so check on them. We're going to be coordinating another meeting with the Public Safety Committee and those involved with the emergency management plan, and an update to the committee on Judy's doing this backup power strategies to the borough building and other facilities. We also identified that this is something, Judy, I'm not sure if you have any additional information on it. Our current emergency management plan, the ordinance was passed with the 2006 version of that. So the ordinance that we passed is from 2006. However, the one that we have posted on the website is 2011. So we're trying to understand. Well, we didn't pull the 2011 off yet.
There is no 2006. So 2011 is the.
Well, no, is that thing?
Yeah.
I have it.
2006.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Pretty sure.
I 17.
I think so. Well,
yeah.
Let's
We can
go
work on
back.
it. Yeah.
We'll work on it. But regardless, we need to update that plan. So the committee will be looking for support in the community to help update that plan, including the current emergency management coordinator. Okay, a couple more points here. Looking ahead, we'll be conducting police chief interviews on July 14th and August 5th with the goal of voting on a new chief at the September council meeting. We're looking forward to a continued strong leadership within our department. And Judy, thanks for sending some of those interview questions. We'll have an interview packet prepared for next Monday. We've done this several times over the years and have some existing best practices. And then finally, we'll be holding a public safety committee meeting on Monday, July 28th. It's open to all residents, so it's gonna be a public safety committee meeting. The focus there is to gather community input on park-related rules and restrictions enforced by the police department. The topics may include bike and electric scooter use, walking path guidelines, dogs on the parks, and general park safety and etiquette. We encourage everyone to attend and share their thoughts, and that will be posted on the borough website. So that's the end of my report. We also have a resolution to pass. It's resolution number 1368 regarding parking fines. So in the ordinance, it says parking, but I think this is particularly focused on overnight parking, but it could include any parking violation. For a number of years, it's been at $15. It's been a recommendation of the mayor, the acting chief, and the public safety committee to increase that fine from $15 to $25, and that is consistent with surrounding communities and the fines that they charge for parking violations. So this particular parking fine is included in the entire the schedule of fines, which include a whole host of different fines. So in your agenda packet, you'll see a number of different fines. This ordinance is updating that entire schedule. I just want to reinforce that we're only voting on the parking fines. So I make a motion that we adopt resolution 1368, addressing the schedule of fines, particularly the parking fines.
Have a motion, do we have a second? Second. I have a motion in a second, any discussion or questions?
Yes, 2 questions, but Mayor, go ahead. You started first.
Yes, it's been $15 since 1997. I think Ms. Barrett last time updated that to 2025. So it's over $25 in present dollars. So I think from 15 to 25 is a reasonable increase for overnight parking to stay with cost of living and inflation. Thank you.
Why did you mention that specifically?
Right, last time you said that $15 was.
I'm sorry, I was trying to understand why it specifically, the way I heard it was that you were saying that I passed something in the past and I didn't, that's why I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
You looked on, you can see what
I
the
did,
present
yes,
value
yeah.
of $15 was.
Yes.
I think you said.
That makes more sense,
I
yes.
think you said it was $28 with 15.
Yeah.
In current.
Yeah, it was around $28, so.
Yeah, that's why I wrote it. Sorry.
No, it's okay, I just got it, for record's sake, I didn't want it to sound like I passed it, that's okay, I did not.
Thank you.
My 2 questions, well, one's just a comment. When we asked for the number of parking tickets overnight, I thought they were gonna say maybe there's like 5 or 6 a month. I was shocked at the number of overnight parking fines. I mean, it was unbelievable how high that number was.
How many are
It was in the hundreds, right?
I don't recall.
I mean, the number was extremely high. There was like 485 parking tickets last year. Right?
for overnight parking?
I don't
Yeah.
recall. I don't recall.
Was that given to the public safety committee?
We
You did ask.
specifically asked, what were the number of tickets? And honestly, to my surprise, I recall it was in the hundreds and not in the fives.
This was on Tuesday, June 3rd, from 1/1/25 until June 3rd. There were 285 parking tickets issued, which is about 57 a month, but that was all parking violations.
Oh, okay.
But that did not include state citations. So 57 a month is.
Which is much more than 5. Okay,
Yeah,
that was what I was trying to say.
Yeah, it wasn't broken down as.
I was shocked how many there were. So but my actual question is, so where does that money go? Where does that money go? What, like, do the police get more uniform allowance, does that go to?
Well, their uniform allowance is set by their contract.
I understand, I'm just asking, do we know where that might
It's
go?
general revenue.
And we see them, like, or does the state keep most of that money?
That's our money, it's our ordinance. So we keep all of it, it's part of the general revenue, it's in the line item budget.
The state recognizes any revenue if that fine isn't paid, and then it turns into the citation. So right now, it's just a tag, it's just, right,
It comes directly to us, we keep.
we keep some, but not if it turns into a citation.
Okay, so.
If it turns into a citation, it goes from, let's say,
There's that
15.
magisterial district.
Right,
Yeah.
it's all around the fees,
Oh, okay.
and it's state, receives something.
But right now, they
Right
would
now,
have a chance to directly pay Green Tree the $25 before it would go to them.
Right, unless, the only time it goes to the magistrate, if they don't pay it, after they wait till after the deadline.
And do we react to that? Do we?
Because the police department all of our funds paid.
Yes. Okay. Most people believe that every tax dollar we had, we were pursuing, tax liens and that, but you never know. Okay, that's my two questions.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay. We had a motion, we had a second, we had discussion. Can we please have a roll call vote?
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Miss Demi,
Yes.
Miss House,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Tintori,
Yes.
Miss Barron.
Yes.
And before we move on, we don't have.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I neglected to recognize the lifeguards. I made a note, I was up there this weekend too, and they are doing a phenomenal job. Evan Zerikowski is the pool manager, is doing a great job. I asked him about the junior lifeguard program that he started last year. Once he has, I guess he has clarity now that the pool is staying open through the remainder of the year, so I'll look into starting that program up again. So yeah, definitely kudos to the lifeguards. I did hear the whistle blow numerous times this weekend. I appreciate that as a former lifeguard. That's it.
Thank you. Up next, we have community engagement and communication, Ms. Demi. Oh, I'm so sorry. I read roll call and then moved on. It is, sorry, Mr. Panza, it is recreation and community events.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Some upcoming events, going backwards, September 13th, Oktoberfest. September 6th, the Green Tree Fire Hall, their annual gun bash. Sportsman bash. Yeah, sorry, to be politically correct. And then, coming up, but
It's not politically correct, that's the name of it.
well, okay, not that it ever would have been called a gun bash, but, okay. So, but anyways, as far as Oktoberfest, Tom Bacon has, went ahead to agreed to have the second annual Cheryl Bacon Memorial Car Show during Oktoberfest. She did do a lot for the community and we really do miss her. And then going backwards, coming July 27th is the senior picnic. Looking forward to that. It was heard through the community, some of the prizes are down from a year ago, but I personally, I'm making some corporate donations to help with the prizes, and we're hoping to, get prizes from other places so that we can put on a really nice senior picnic for our seniors. As far as the deer management, we're still looking to have some meetings, and we're looking to just get together and have a discussion about what we can do about the deer management. I have heard, though, that I've heard numerous reports that the coyotes, there are more and more coyote sightings in Green Tree, which in a way, no one likes the coyotes, but yet that would help the deer population if the coyote population continues to grow. But, I'm just saying, so we'll see how that goes. And then as far as we plan on having the end of August, a joint council recreation committee plus citizen recreation committee with the recreation director and Judy to have just an open forum discussion of the overall recreation program, of everything we do, what's good, what's bad, what needs help, what we should do. And then once again, this will be a public recreation committee meeting, not a workshop meeting, but we're looking sometime at the end of August. So other than that, that is the end of my report, Madam President.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on, we have community engagement and communication.
Thank you. A reminder that the communications poll survey that was sent out in the newsletter is still available online and available in the borough office, just to help gather some benchmark information. They'll be shared out with the committee as we determine next steps in our strategy. For the park survey, a survey will be posted in our parks that will allow visitors to scan in and complete a few questions to capture demographics and file any park maintenance requests as well. The communication committee will get a meeting scheduled later this month to discuss a few volunteer opportunities that we have coming up for the planning of Green Tree America's anniversary, the 250th anniversary in 2026, the reformation of the traffic advisory board, and also to identify if there's any opportunity to help promote Green Tree in our community next year during the 2026 NFL draft.
I have a question, and I'm on your committee. Where is the park survey at? We haven't had a meeting to discuss that. Is that already been put out? I have no idea what that is.
That came from the borough, just a way for visitors to, I can say that.
Yeah, that was the borough.
That was right. Correct.
Why isn't it through the committee? Well, I know it can be, but I wasn't involved in the first survey that went out, not involved in the second survey. Created this new committee and nothing has happened in the committee. I think we've had one meeting since January. So why is the committee being involved? Unless they are, and I'm just being excluded.
No, it did not go through the committee. It was something that the borough office felt was necessary for people to have a way, something posted in the parks where they can submit park maintenance requests.
So, again, just Judy, help me understand why this is something that's going out to the community. We created this. President of the council created the community engagement communication committee, and we're not being communicated to.
So this committee the survey can definitely be sent to the committee as a whole to see if we want to input on it. It's pretty basic information.
Who created the first survey?
I think we talked about that first.
I included everybody in my committee. I included almost all the council in my emails. I have no emails regarding any communication or engagement.
I mean, we can share it out. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's live. It's not
live.
live.
Who created the first survey that went out in the last newsletter?
I know
We talked about.
Who created it? You're saying, I understand, just you two put it together?
Joint, I would say it was a joint.
Yeah.
And you decided to leave it. Who's the other person on the community engagement communication? Was she included?
No.
Okay, so committee's lack of communication.
It was a time sensitive matter. There was space available in the newsletter and it needed to be.
I check my email all the time. All the time I check my email.
I'll send the survey to the whole committee.
Is the, well, I don't, but I'm not on those emails. The information for the park, that is, my understanding from what was said tonight is it's a way for people to report something amiss in the park, right?
No, it's just to say, so you go to the park, you scan it.
Scan or what?
It could be through QR code.
Do we understand from a cybersecurity perspective, how dangerous that is. Anybody can go up and put a poster up and say, scan this, and it can be a bad guy. QR codes is a major cybersecurity threat. I do, but I'm
That's
not
how we
included in the
do.
meetings.
And I guess maybe, then if I'm missing that, then my apologies, but we do the QR code for the app. I mean, that would be the same thing. I'm
On
not
the
sure.
app that's on the website that we push out. If you're talking about putting a piece of paper on a bulletin board, that anybody go up there and do that? It's in the building, it's a secure place. Nobody can just put something in here.
We can certainly look into that.
It would be great to be included, and be communicated to as a member of the Community Engagement and Communication Committee. Let's have some meetings. with engagement and communication.
We've had as many communications committees as we've had public safety committee meetings since I've joined.
I could send you numerous emails, Deborah. How many emails have you been included on related to public safety? I mean, I can go through, there's multiple a month. I have no emails about any survey whatsoever.
The borough business is necessarily reach out. The survey.
And it was one of the poorly done surveys we have ever seen. I create surveys for a living.
Okay, is there anything else for the community engagement and communication?
Is the committee that we need volunteers for the ordinance, you know, the
Yeah, you're talking about the one for, the, international
yes,
plan.
yes.
That, went out, we have received things that actually, because it was very specific, like, that the communication committee didn't, have anything to do with that, because it's outlined in the, or like in the plans of what you need. Applications have been received, and I know that it was sent to, the applications were sent to, Ms. Helps. And, her committee will take it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did
No,
not receive any
Oh.
applications.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Emily's.
I do not know why I said that. It is, yes. Ms. Schwartz is the liaison. And Ms. Schwartz got the emails, and her, as the liaison with that, with the planning committee, they will figure out how, who will get appointed and how they will interview those folks.
Okay. The committee I'm on. Okay, thank you.
But those were just, received today.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and then, yeah,
I just
so
wanted to
you'll get
get
an
my
update.
point.
Yeah, that's all I know. Sorry, much more. Okay, so now we have finance and borough administration, Mr. Titori.
Thank you, Madam President. Finance Committee discussed the AI policy, which I'll be presenting as a motion later on in this presentation. But first off, I'd like to make a motion to ratify the actions of the borough manager in paying the June 2025 invoices from the general fund totaling $164,292.22. Sanitary sewer fund totaling $211.01. Farmers market fund totaling $923.50. Payroll account totaling $260,634.61. Educational service agency fund totaling $5,017.86. Credit card, April 2025, totaling $8,258.95.
Have a motion, do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to, if you notice in those report that you'll see a number of members of our volunteer fire company, they're listed there. And that's due to the Act 172 property tax relief that we passed. I think it's a great program. And our volunteer firefighters for serving our community, and it's the least we can do to give back through that property tax relief program.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, that motion passes.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to make a motion to approve payment of the July 2025 invoices from the general fund totaling $209,250.16. Storm sewer fund totaling $30,914.55. Sanitary sewer fund totaling $49,543.67. Capital projects funds totaling $21,746.77. And farmers market fund totaling $479.50.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. We can have all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? That motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to introduce ordinance 1910. It's setting the hourly wage and benefits for the special school police employees. So therefore, I move that we pass ordinance 1910, setting hourly wage and benefits for the special school police borough employees.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I think it should just be noted, that those are the school crossing guards, right?
Yes.
That is correct.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, we need a roll call vote for this one.
Mr. Tintori,
Yes.
Miss Demi,
Yes.
Miss House,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Miss Barron.
Yes. That motion passes. The ordinance passes. Thank you.
Can I just make a comment about our school crossing guards? Sometimes they're actually putting their life on the line. I saw one almost get run over a couple weeks ago. I think I mentioned it at the last meeting. In my next newsletter, I'll be reminding residents that when you see a school bus with red flashing lights and stop sign, and school crossing guard in the middle of the intersection, that you can't pass them. It's an intersection that we own line. Really important to be obey those.
Okay.
Okay. Next up, I'd like to introduce resolution 1370, which is adopting AI policy. Therefore, I would like to move that we adopt resolution 1370, adopting an artificial intelligence policy to provide requirements and establish a framework for the responsible use of artificial intelligence by borough employees, elected officials, vendors, volunteers, and contractors.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do you have any thoughts you want
I reviewed
to
it.
review?
So I reviewed the policy. I also reviewed the possibility of having a standalone policy that governs council specifically. I thought that that was unnecessary. There are provisions of the draft AI policy that provide that it is applicable to both the employees of the borough as well as council. There are obviously certain provisions that are going to be directly attributable to employees only, but other provisions such as usage standards, those are non-employee specific. So I don't believe that the borough needs to incur any additional cost in drafting a separate policy for council.
Okay.
Was the AI policy generated by AI?
That was prepared by Special Labor Council. I don't know. I assume not.
It totally was.
I had that thought too. It's kind of funny to have AI generate its own policy.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, and discussion. If there's no more discussion, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Tintori,
Yes.
Miss Demi,
Yes.
Miss House,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Miss Barron.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Training provided
President.
There's gonna be training provided to employees and or elected officials on proper use of AI.
I think the practice for that will disseminate the policy and request questions for any
or we'll go online and ask chat to explain.
That's the end of my report. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. And moving on to
I
infrastructure.
have a question. So, Mr. Miller, your update you sent to us, the Administrator of Public Works peer review recommendations. Is that generated by the Finance Committee, or was that the report, the excerpt of the report that we received from the contractors?
The recommendations are from the contractors.
Yeah, so I thought it was the Finance Committee getting together to review the recommendations provided by the contractor so that we can
The
understand.
recommendation response is in there as well. So there's a recommendation and then.
Right, so that document that you sent was generated by the Finance Committee.
And myself.
Okay. The Finance Committee meet to review that?
That was last month. It just took me a while to get it all
Okay, great.
summarized.
So what are the next steps?
I think that it would be best for council to first discuss an executive session, just to sort through any things that might be personnel related, and then from there we can, as a council, decide how you, if there are any of the recommendations that you would like to proceed with or not. The report was generated in 2022.
Yeah, I've been asking for 3 years, so yeah. Okay, great, thank you.
Infrastructure, Ms. House?
Okay, so as previously mentioned, a list of concerns from the I-376 interchange project have been compiled from the workshop meeting, from the planning commission concerns, as well as the council's own concerns. The traffic engineer also gave us input. So Ms. Miller compiled everything. Council has received that document for review and or comment. So if no additional comments from council are received, it will then go out tomorrow, correct?
So
Unless
is there
somebody
gonna be
needs a little bit more time, I'd like to get it out.
Is there gonna be a, so you gave us the list of concerns, you can get a letter attached to that?
Of course.
So can you share that?
Basically
draft?
just a transmittal.
Okay.
That's all it would be, just a basic transmittal that, council met multiple times to discuss it and attach some list of concerns that, we would like to be there. It's not only a list of concerns, but there's some requests for information as well.
No, I'm sorry, no.
No. Work on this, work on the Holiday Mansfield storm line project has begun. It is expected to be completed within the next 2 to 3 weeks. There is one remaining task to be completed, and that is the lining of the corrugated pipe along Holiday down to Mansfield. A grant has been submitted for the overall project, and if that's awarded, that will be used to complete the remaining portion of the project along Mansfield Avenue. The Arla Storm Water Outfall Restoration Project, the construction is complete. There are just a final punch list of items that are expected to be completed as soon as possible. The Heckler Drive sanitary sewer, that project is also complete. Restoration has been completed, and the remaining punch list items are awaiting completion. The road program for 2025, the contract was awarded to Youngblood last month. Construction on that is expected to begin in early August. Notifications of the work schedule will go out via Connects, the borough website and Facebook. And residents living on the streets to be paved will receive paper notification via door hangers as well. For the stream restoration project, as a part of the overall MS4 compliance efforts, the Whiskey Run Stream Bank Restoration Project, in addition to the reconstruction of a retaining wall in the stream, is expected to begin in July, I guess, not June anymore. This work will be paid for by grant proceeds that were received in 2023. The final engineering design continues on the Trumbull Bridge project. A grant has also been submitted for upgrades to multiple traffic lights and intersections around Nobletown and Mansfield, and we are currently still awaiting grant award decision. We do expect that decision sometime this summer. And then there is a contract award on today's agenda It is over budget by $30,000 for the sidewalk improvements. In consideration, I would just like to call out that $247,800 of that project cost is covered by a grant. So we do recommend it. So that is the end of my report, and I have a couple of resolutions. If anybody has any.
Yeah, I have come back to the PennDOT letter. So the letter, the list of concerns that Mr. Miller sent us were the list of concerns that we talked about at the last meeting. However, the letter that we received from Worcester, which I think was really, really great, there's a lot of things in there that aren't included in the list of concerns. So I think it'd be helpful if we dissected this letter from Worcester and included some concerns they have regarding the design. Most notably, this last one, to be honest with you, I just read, it said, I would question the number of design options that were discussed with PennDOT for a project of this size, which is my experience on federal and state funded projects, that at least 3 alternatives are required to be presented to the public. Not sure how they just presented just one alternate. So things like that, I think, need to be included.
That should be in.
It was, I feel
How
that
many,
I
I
read
asked
it
how many
where
to
it
someone.
was
Yeah.
included.
Certainly, Dave, if you see something in the Worcester letter that you feel, there's a lot of commentary in there that I found difficult to just add in there, but again, that's why I sent it out to council. Anything in the Worcester letter that you felt could be formulated into some form of a request or concern. I felt that I had gathered most of them, but if there's something that you would like.
Yeah, that one just in particular. Well, should we discuss that as council, or if I say included, it just automatically gets included?
I don't see that. I thought I asked them, I thought the question was, I asked them, how many design options were created? Certainly I can't ask them to create.
Unless I'm reading the wrong thing, so I'm reading the one that says Green Tree Borough through 76.
Yeah,
Change
to
concerns.
the very bottom, was it the last thing?
There's a list of 9 items. The last one was birds requesting property related inspection reports. I'm just wondering.
You know what, Dave, I apologize. I felt certain I added that in there. I'll look at mine and double check it and send you out tomorrow. But I know for sure that I added that in there. You know, I think it was more of a question, were other design opportunities considered, and will we just present it with one, or did you only create one? That was the question. But if you would, like I said, if you want to go through that, any council, if you have items that you want, I'll add them in, I'll redistribute it as, you know, David Gray would like this, you know, Mary would like that, and then we can finalize it this week.
Well, I mean, I think my response would be, since we paid this Worcester that analyzed the design and some of our concerns, I read it, I think everything they have in here is legitimate and reasonable. I would just include what they called out into our letter of intent.
I don't need anything in the attachment.
Well,
I think
because
we
it's
discuss that with them first.
it's addressed. I wouldn't include it as an attachment because it's a letter addressed to us. Not them to us, but what they sent to us out and put it into our letter of intent. Like, I would request from PennDOT the results of the micro-simulation runs, like all that technical stuff.
That's it.
One jumped out at me from the Worcester, what I'd like the most. I would also like to see more detailed drawings on pedestrian accessibility along Green Tree Road through the interchange area. The bridge is a connection point between the neighborhood parks and schools and commercial districts. We mentioned in general about safety, but I think that pinpoints it.
To ask for the detail.
Right, I think that's a little better, the way they worded that one in particular.
Yes.
The one I highlighted.
I mean, I think you're right. The way they word it from a technical perspective, like using the word micro simulations, we might be just saying collect data, but it's more specific.
But some of them, I do acknowledge from Rooster or confusing, and I didn't quite understand. The one I just read, I did understand.
Ms. Miller, on the June 26th draft that was sent, it is there, there's a line item number 10 for any additional design options considered or developed. If there were additional options, the borough would like to receive copies of the same. So I wonder if it just got lost.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
updated
I'll
drafts.
update it. I'll add some more specific language relative to that pedestrian and anything else that anybody would like, just flag it on the Worcester and then
I'm flagging everything on the loose because they're the expert. I'm not an engineer, so they're the traffic engineer. They reviewed it. Anything they call out is concern or need more information. Short of attaching the letter, I would just pull it. They use ChatGPT to say, take this out, put it into it.
Or just ask Rooster if we have any permission to send it on to them.
I was just trying to make it as concise, like bullet points, if you will.
We'll see an update of that tomorrow, though.
Yes.
So we'll move on to the Green Tree Road Sidewalk Improvement Phase 3 contract award. I move that we award the Green Tree Road Sidewalk Improvement Phase 3 contract to Cronin Enterprises LLC in the amount of $384,500 in accordance with the Borough Engineers Correspondence dated June 26, 2025.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Have we worked with Cronin Enterprises LLC in the past?
We have not. I've not been a part of any contract with them.
We did, I did raise some concerns to Ms. Miller and Mr. Leland before there's on the agenda. And I don't know if Mr. Leland, you want to discuss the legal requirements we have as a borough. to award this bid.
Sure. So by law, you're required to award the bids to the lowest responsible bidder. It's my understanding, Judy, correct me if I'm wrong, but the concern with Cronin was it?
It was a significant difference in bids from the other three that were there. And when looking at their website, there wasn't an indication that they had done a lot of this type of work before, whereas the number 2 person on the bid sheet had.
So.
And so I asked questions and
So-
got very lengthy answers in response, so thank you for that.
Of course. So to keep it brief, it's a high bar to essentially disqualify a bidder. And you need, essentially, if they come in low with their bid amount compared to other bidders, that's not enough to necessarily disqualify them. You need actual instances that you can point to that would disqualify them, that would show that they are not responsible bidders. So for instance, if in the past, other municipalities had to pull their performance bond for poor quality work, those are specific instances that a municipality can look to and say, while they might be the lowest bidder, we do not believe that they constitute the lowest responsible bidder. Like I said, that's a high burden to meet. There's been questions, this council has had those questions in the past, my other municipal clients have as well. So it's something that's fairly common, but it's difficult to prove, and it's going to be challenged if not awarded to the lowest bidder, because essentially if you make the determination as a council that a bidder does not meet the term responsible, it's going to greatly hinder their ability to receive any future public contracts, which means they're going to be very motivated to file a lawsuit against the municipality, to seek an injunction to have the court force the municipality to grant them the contract. The fact that LSSC, the borough's engineer, did not express any concerns with the specific bidder leads me to believe that, in my legal opinion, that the borough should award the bid as detailed in tonight's agenda.
So they've done projects on their website, the log church, residential retaining walls, and landscape it all. So Mr. Pan's company who does primarily decks, says I want to bid on sidewalks. Responsible bidder.
Well, it's a technical question that's better suited for LSSC. Typically, there are there are qualifications required to be met in the bid specifications that's prepared by the engineer that can automatically disqualify certain applicants. So the engineer can say, you have to have X amount of public contracts in the past, or you have to have X amount of experience, and then as a preliminary matter, just disqualify any applicants that do not meet.
Do we do that?
In this instance, I believe so. I'm not positive.
And I can tell you with this,
Do we have specific requirements that you have had to install a sidewalk in the past?
I'm not sure how specific that gets, but I can tell you in talking with Lennon Smith that this particular contractor has a pretty good bit of experience with sidewalks. I think the problem when you start looking at websites, those companies, they may start with a base business, but then they expand their business practices in order to, continue to stay in business, because with everything, all these are like public contracts. If you bid public contracts and you don't get, they start doing a variety of work. And this contractor in particular, we had the same situation when we did the Heckler project. The contractor was not, that wasn't the lion's share of their history of work completed. But
It was their first public contract.
yeah, they
It was
did
in
the
the
project
realm
and
of
they did
their
it successfully.
capabilities. It was within their realm of capabilities.
They were landscaping.
And I can tell you
They're
that
doing land, they're doing excavation and land, right?
But they had never, that was one of their first projects specifically.
I would like to see the specification that one's been put out for this project. We had a similar issue last month with the road paving.
And that was not a good representation. That company is doing pretty expensive paving work. They just did. I'm not sure the exact size of the contract that they did, the size of the project in a very large southeast community.
Well, but their bid was in line with the other bids. This one is a couple of, for me, a couple of red flags, not demonstrating the capabilities online and being significantly under, so.
Well, all I'll say is I know that I had a very specific conversation with Lennon Smith about this contract, where they do not have any concerns with this contractor.
I would also know that Lennon Smith has expressed concerns in the past regarding other contracts.
Yes.
So the fact that they didn't express any concerns here, I think, is a good indication that the borough would not be able to meet its burden. Excuse me.
I would like to see the, what did you call it, the specifications that they put out?
I can send them to you.
And then they review those specifications against, not the job specifications, but the qualification specifications. Is that something that they do in terms of?
That should be included in the spec book.
And then, so how does the contractor, do they have, is there like a checklist that this, haven't done this, or do they have to submit examples of work, past contracts? How do they verify that they meet their requirements?
Depends on the language of the specs. Oftentimes it will require specific examples. I don't have the spec book in front of me on this one, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would like to see that before I vote on this, just as a check.
Is this the project that's $30,000 over budget?
Yes.
So it's 30,000 over budget, and this is still super low. So the people who projected what this project should cost, did not do a very good job.
Or the same people that are saying, I assume the same people are saying this contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they're covering the fact that, wow, we really got this wrong. Thank goodness this company's close, won't make us look so bad.
Right.
Exactly, Dave. I'm Mr. Ray, sorry. No, I follow what you're saying. But then again, If you bid out a white t-shirt and you have Nordstrom, Saks, and Walmart, of course, Walmart can come in much, much cheaper, and yet you'll still wind up with a white t-shirt again.
If we don't award this tonight, how much does that delay construction? Because it sounds like,
Well, the minimum fund.
right, based on the legal implications, it sounds like we pretty much have to at this point.
I believe we had 45 days to.
I believe it's 45 days.
From when the bid was received or from today?
When the bids are open.
They received June 20.
June 25th.
But I mean, we would have a right to not award the bid because it came in over budget. Just like we have the right, if the swimming pool comes in $2 million over what projected, we could say no, no matter how responsible that bidder is. We do have that right, correct?
We do not have to award the contract.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Are there limits on usage of the grant funding that we received for this project?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Like limits on the grant, that grant money? Is that specific to this project or just any
Yes.
infrastructure?
It is specific to this.
To
project.
phase 3?
Yes.
And is there a timeline in which that money has to be used?
I don't know what the deadline is, but we have a little bit of time, but not, I would say not a lot. I think it would have to be done by early 2026 at the very latest.
So does the rest of council have any thoughts based on the questions I asked and the legal information I was given? I'm okay going forward, but I also do see Mr. Ray's point, and I would like to know what everybody else thinks.
I mean, the lowest responsible bidder, our engineers said they were the lowest responsible bidder. It's hard to overcome lowest responsible bidder to begin with. And you have to accept the lowest responsible bidder. Then once our engineer says they're the lowest responsible bidder, I mean, we're up against the wall here. I think that, and we do have grant money here. We don't want to jeopardize the grant money. So my thought would be to go ahead with it, and it is close, to Mr. Vance's point. It's like, my arithmetic could be off, it's about 6-7% over what our engineer predicted, so that's not a big variance, so my thought would be, go ahead with this. I don't think we're gonna be able to, not go along with it.
Well, we have a motion and we have a second, so it would be in our best interest to take it to the vote, see what happens. Because we do have, we just have to see where it falls. And then if not, if we would vote on this and say no, Mr. Bewan, what are the next steps legally for that?
I don't think we want to vote. No, my concern is, I just want to see information on the specification. I don't want to vote no, and then learn the specification was great, and we should have voted yes. Where everybody votes yes, and we learn the specification was off, or maybe let's miss something. Can we just table it until next month?
So I think you have two options. You can either, I would not vote to strike it down tonight. I think council needs to determine if they have the votes to go through with it, or if council has the votes to table it. I think those are the two viable options on the table right now. So it's an all in favor motion. You can do a head count before taking a formal vote to see where everyone stands, have more discussion. But I would not recommend just outright voting no tonight on the contract, because, if there's not four votes to move forward tonight, then vote to table it.
If we table it, what do we, because we're counting down the clock of when we say yes, so what are those ramifications?
So long as if it gets tabled tonight, council obviously meets first Monday of every month. So if this was awarded if the bids were received on June 25th, have to do some quick math, but you're probably within the 45 days. to accept it, that shouldn't be an issue. It's most likely not a legal issue, it's just a practical issue, the project's going to be delayed a month.
We'd be at 40 days.
40, 45 days.
It would just start, it would just push back the start of the project.
So why would we do tables? What's the rationale? I mean,
Well,
what do we do in the meantime? I mean, what's the point of it?
I believe if it's tabled, it would be for council to have the opportunity to review the specs, to see what qualifications and stipulations, if any, were included by LSSE prior to awarding the contract.
I asked why specs generally aren't sent to council for any contract fee awards. Generally speaking, it hasn't happened.
I can tell you in all of my municipalities, it typically doesn't go to council. It's just something that's handled by the borough engineer. It's technical.
That's why you have a borough engineer. That's why you're paying them for your.
It's right.
Because we have no ability to understand. You know, we may have some.
But I want our residents to understand too, why this isn't typical.
Yeah, council.
That's what happens.
Yeah, council doesn't really have the expertise to.
Agree, I'm
Look at
not
it.
challenging the technical expertise of the bid on what I want to understand, for the bidder qualification process. So what is the requirement in terms of past capabilities, projects, past public contracts, and all of that? I'm not, my concern isn't around the technical aspects of it.
Right. No, I certainly understand your concern. Like I said, I think it just depends on, are there 4 members of council tonight who feel sufficiently confident awarding the contract tonight? If the answer is yes, you can move forward with it. If the answer is no, it makes sense to table it.
And there is a performance bond.
There is a performance bond where if they fall short of carrying out the work diligently, you know, that bond exists for a reason. You call the bonds and you have someone else go in and make the necessary corrections or finish the project. Those protections exist on every project, no matter, you know, how responsible or irresponsible they may seem.
I would be in favor of moving ahead because we have enough fail safe. We've got all kinds of expertise. This isn't something they just, make up. So I'd be in favor of moving ahead. That's all.
It's saying Cronin Company is a trucking company that also specializes in distribution, real estate, landscape development, and pond remediation.
I do think too that we have to be careful, as was mentioned before, with these websites, that perhaps certain companies don't invest in an IT or web-based infrastructure when they're out there doing construction during the busy season. That it's not a well put together website, right? So it's possible that is not a big concern of theirs, and that doesn't reflect on the work that they do.
And I would suggest that the lion's share of the work that they do is all professionally bid work. They're not.
They've been in
People aren't
business
going
since
to the website.
2002.
It's not like, those are not my questions, if their bid was aligned with the other bids, probably wouldn't have an issue. But given that, this house had an initial concern, I have an initial concern. I think we do have the time on the calendar to table this for next month. Do a little bit of due diligence that will take literally 10 minutes, just to make sure that everything's cool and we've set it. And we vote on it next month, and there's not a problem.
The council would like to table it, I can ask the engineer to send over the specification qualifications for bidders, so. we have that.
My concern with just asking for those specifications is not going to give us the answer as of whether this, I'm just concerned that would then have us go, well, how do we know that these people that this company meets all these specifications? Because we aren't, the information we have about them currently is just through the website, right? Just through what we can look with our fingers. I think I don't really have an issue either way. Is what I'm saying, but I am concerned that if we only ask for those, hey, what's the bid specs on this? How are we going to know what the answers are? We're not the folks who, we're not engineers, who understand the importance of those specs and understanding what qualifies each one of those. So that's my.
And it sounds like our engineers have in fact
Yeah.
reviewed the specs and cleared it, so.
My issue again is not with technical specifications of this bid. What I want to get an understanding of, and regardless of how this plays out, I still want to see the justification that Lemon Smith went through to approve this as a qualified bidder, and that's it. Like, it just give me an email from Jason saying, well, here's a paragraph, here's why I thought they were a qualified bidder. I don't even need to see the specifications. Well, yeah, of course, we'll go back in history, and if they did sidewalks for some community, out in Washington, yeah, great. Now I have a little bit more, confidence that they have the capabilities. I just want to understand the thought process that Lemon Smith went through to qualify that as a qualified. It's pretty simple ask.
You can always start with a motion to table it, and if the motion fails, then there's presumably 4 people who will vote yes to award the contract. And so that way, there's no harm in making a motion in a second for tabling, take a vote, and then the original motion's preserved, and then it's shot down.
And the only other thing that I would say is, you know, because we're talking about the difference in pricing, you know, if you look at all the bids that were received, you know, had we not received some of the other incremental bids, the next lowest bidder is 438, and then there's one of them 474. So there's a lot of space between all of bids. So I just think that that's not the reason. It might be that this company was unsuccessful in being the low bidder in other projects. They need the work, they come in much more competitive. That's how it works. So I think you need to be mindful of that. Don't base it on the number.
I'm totally basing it on the number.
So we
You
did,
can, but it's not, there's a $50,000 difference between the next one and 40,000 and the highest.
My concern is, based on what Mr. Leland has said, if we, you know, even if we get a paragraph or not, and it leads to a vote of no confidence for us, and we say no, or we try to say that they're not a responsible bidder for what we just heard, we're facing huge lawsuits, we're facing the loss of this grant money if we don't utilize it for this. I have more concerns about what that looks like in that path versus trusting our engineers and their engineer expertise to say to us, we have vetted these people, we believe that they are a responsible bidder, there are other fail safes that have been discussed. I'm not sure I need more in-depth than, yes, we believe that they are a responsible bidder.
But these are the same, these are the same experts that you claim we pay that said this project would be 350,000 and we had bids of 478,000. Now
It's
that's,
obviously not an exact science, but
well, that's what I'm saying. So you're using that same expertise. Like,
We don't always have to rely on expertise.
and
Sometimes
that's
we
what
can
I'm,
use
that's what
our
I'm
own
trying to,
judgment.
that's what I'm trying to say is that, you know,
We've been burned a couple of times relying on expertise.
yeah.
Saying, let's make sure we have all the information, all the data, to make an informed vote. I'd like to make a subsidiary motion that we table this until next month.
We have a motion to table. Do you have a second? If there's no second, we will vote on this motion that is set forth. It's an all in favor, so we've been all in favor for all in favor.
It's an all in favor.
Well, we have to say all in favor, yay. Do we?
Yes.
yeah,
Aye.
Aye.
No.
We have a no. Do we have any other no's? Do we have any abstains?
I abstain because I don't have enough information.
I believe that's 411.
I voted yes. Did you believe that, I voted yes because I do believe it on fail safes.
Mr. Panza voted no, Mr. Ray abstained, the remaining council members voted in favor.
Okay, thank you. All right, and let's move on to resolution 1371.
Resolution number 1371, Commonwealth Financing Authority Multimodal Transportation Fund Grant. I move that we adopt resolution number 1371, authorizing the council president and the borough manager to execute all documents and agreements between the borough of Green Tree and the Commonwealth Financing Authority to assist in obtaining a grant in the amount of $847,200 under the Multimodal Transportation Fund to be used for the Green Tree Road Sidewalk Rehabilitation Phase 5 project in accordance with the borough engineer's correspondence dated June 27th, 2025.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Okay, this one is a roll call vote.
Ms. House,
Yes.
Ms. Demi,
Yes.
Mr. Panza,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Tintori,
Yes.
Ms. Barron.
Yes. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to the mayor's report.
Just one more, Mr. Miller, I'd still like to see the specification of information that Ms. Smith used to qualify all of the bidders, just not the voter.
Okay, thank you. Three things that I hope we just don't forget. Very comment right down with the food truck ordinance. I think we should have a food truck ordinance here in Green Tree. Parking on roads across from Wilson Park. I think we need to address that. Yes, no, maybe so. And workshop meetings. I'm still in favor of workshop meetings. I mean, we always have a lot to discuss. A lot of times, it's not the whole committee, it's not the whole council. I think workshop meetings will help that situation. So those three things, food trucks, parking on roads, and workshop meetings. Moving on, I called Dan Deasy last week about Marion Manor. I know it's not in Green Tree, but people were concerned, Green Tree residents were concerned about Marion Manor, what's going to happen to that. So the developer has come up with a new suggestion. The suggestion includes tearing down the existing structures. That was the old suggestion too, tearing down the old structures. But the new suggestion is senior citizen, market rate, single family. So it'd be all market rate, single family and senior citizens. The developers planning on getting another public meeting and putting their future. I'll look into, it was raised tonight about plans for Parkway Center Mall. I'll look into that, see if I can find out from any council people in the city of Pittsburgh if they have any plans now that the Giant Eagle is closed, what they plan on doing with Parkway Center Mall. I mean, maybe it's premature, maybe no plans yet, but I'll follow up on that, and I'll try to follow up on when that public meeting is for Marion Manor. I attended the last one a couple of months ago. They've already been given a shout out to the summer rec program. I think Ms. Short indicated 210 members in gymnastics. That's a great program here, so thank you. 4th of July, the full and lifeguards. It's already brought up. I was out of town, but that's great. Farmers market, that's a great activity also. So thank you for all of that, all the people that work on all those. Moving on, fire company picnic. That's July 19th in Wilson Park between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. So they always have a company picnic. So that's, like I said, July 19th, 2005. Keystone Oaks students, they went to Odyssey of the Mind and they took first place. So a bunch of Keystone Oaks students. I was trying to ascertain which ones were from Green Tree, and I'm not certain if any are, but let me read the 6 members of the Odyssey of the Mind that went to, I believe, Chicago. I could be wrong, but they went, and it was a world competition. There was a lot of competition there, and the 6 members that were in the first place winning team from Keystone Oaks High School were Afton, Rogers, Frankie Custer, Alex Smith, Regan Dobson, Grace Luft, LUFT, and Rainier Lloyd. I'm not sure, does anyone recognize any of those from Green Tree? Whether they're from Green Tree or not, they're from Keystone Heights School District, and congratulations to those 6 members of Odyssey of the Mind. Police chief interviews was already pointed out. It's boiled down to 3. We have 3 remaining candidates. We started with over 10, 3 remaining. As Mr. Ray pointed out, July 14th, we interviewed 1. August 5th, council interviews 2. We're going to make a decision shortly thereafter of who is selected to be the police chief. I have mayor's office hours on June 14th. I think I have 5 persons. Upcoming newsletter, I'll announce my next mayor's office hours. On Monday, June 16th, as Mr. Ray pointed out, we did have a public safety committee meeting. He always includes me on his public safety committee meetings. And there was discussions about lessons from the April storm, what we're going to do in the future. Just like to put some of record. I'm not going to give the answers here, but some of the issues that were brought up is who declares a state of emergency, whether it's the mayor, whether it's the police chief, whether it's the borough manager. So we want to clarify that. We want to update our emergency management plan. We have an emergency management coordinator. It doesn't have to be the same person that updates the plan. We tried to do that a number of months ago, maybe over a year ago, but I think we really should update our emergency management plan. And like I said, it can be a different person as the emergency management coordinator. Then we, as Mr. Ray indicated, we're going to contact, Ms. Mill is going to contact Allegheny County Emergency Management Office to get any information from them. What else we decided at that meeting recommendation was to not close the borough building. We also need an emergency generator for lighting for the entire borough building. So if the electricity goes out, that we have a backup system for the borough building. Another issue we brought up is how to communicate with residents when there's a power outage. That's a difficult question, how to communicate with everyone, and also how to create a list of vulnerable people, that have mobility or health issues, how to create such a list without violating privacy rights. Just 2 more. What's the role of the emergency officer? Code enforcement officer. What's the role of code enforcement officer during a power outage or an emergency? And the other issue that was brought up from my notes is maintaining power to traffic lights and lanes change lights. I noticed that we're going to try to update some of our lights, so maybe we need power backups for the traffic lights and the lanes change lights. A couple other things, Mr. Ray did point out the police reports. I noted 3 things on the police reports. We had 5 domestics, sometimes male, female, male, female, female, but domestics are always difficult. But we did have 5 last month in June. Mental health, we always have reports. We had 2 mental health. As Mr. Ray pointed out, we had 1 Narcan use. The police carry Narcan. When someone ODs, they administer Narcan. Oftentimes save someone's life by administering Narcan. Last meeting, I did misstate. I did indicate that we had license plate readers, the police department. But one time we did have license plate readers whereby the police could scan a license plate and find out the history of the person. We do not have license plate readers currently. However, a police officer can type in the license plate of somebody and find that information from criminal search engines. So it's the same difference, but license plate readers are a little quicker, but we can find out when the police stop someone, they can find out for a traffic violation, they can find out if someone's wanted on a warrant by typing in the license plate and giving it to the criminal search engine. Point Park, moving on, next, Point Park University. They were here May 5th, 2025. They want a long-term lease for Phil. I think we need to get back to them ASAP, and they're willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to turf the field. We were gonna have an executive session tonight, but everybody wasn't here, so we're gonna have one in August. So hopefully, Point Park doesn't get cold feet, so that we can get back to them, come August, have an executive session, and discuss the proposed agreement, with, Point Park in regard to, them, a long-term lease. Shout out to the fire department at 300 Nobleston Road. That's where that fire was on Nobleston Road. It was discussed earlier. They did a good job there. Another shout out to the school crossing guards. I mean, they did get an increase of 3%, because they're still making approximately $16 an hour. And that's working. That's tough. We're going to work in the morning, work in the afternoon, be there consistently. So we're lucky. I do not know how many school crossing guards we have. I think I know, but I'm not going to say the number. But we're very fortunate to have the school crossing guards. And just lastly, a comment on AI and intelligence. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm an attorney. I do use AI intelligence. Sometimes I know there's a case out there. So if I ask the right question, I can't think of the case. I know you ask the right question, it comes out with the case I was thinking of. But a lot of times if you use AI intelligence, ask a question, I'm just scratching my head. Where's it coming from? So anytime you use AI intelligence, you have to verify. But it is useful on occasion. So I'm glad we have a policy, that addresses the good, the bad, and the ugly on AI intelligence. Thank you. Under my report.
Mayor, could you elaborate on the police cameras? You said we had them and now we do not have them? The license plate.
I might have misspoke. We do have police cameras on the car and on the officers. So yes.
No. Specifically, you said we used to have license plate scanners. Now we do not.
That is correct. That is accurate.
Could you elaborate on that? What happened to them? Did they get stolen? Did they lose them?
I just think the technology and the cost, and we can get the same information by using the criminal research engines.
So I have a question about that actually. That's great that we can do that. It keeps our police officers much safer, but I had a question. Do you know how often that's used? Is that only used if they're pulling someone over? Or they use it if they're just patrolling, would they, they sit on my street a lot. And they just run numbers and hope to catch someone? I'm very curious about what the ethics are in using that.
Most of the time, predominantly when they pull someone over in suspicious activity.
Okay.
Or the 2 times. If they see something suspicious, a car parked.
That's great.
Somewhere, it's not supposed to 2 times. But to address your question too, if a car's in public space, they do have the right to scan the license.
But you're saying they're not doing it.
It automatically scans the license.
No, the mayor said we used to.
No,
do it,
you
and now
were talking
we
about
don't.
2 separate.
Yeah, they have to type it in.
They have to type it in,
Yeah,
and
they
they scan it.
usually don't type it in if they don't pull someone over, if there's no suspicious activity.
But we know, I thought when we had the capability that it was a scanner, so
Yeah.
be driving down the street and it would just continuously scan for license.
Yeah, like we have a police car on Green Tree Road, they could be sitting there, and every car that goes by, he could say,
That's my
oh,
understanding.
there's a felon with a warrant, I'm gonna go get him. Yes, that's what they
That's
do.
what he thought was happening. Right?
No, he said that that's what was happening, but
But he
now
corrected
it's
himself
not.
this month. He said that's not the case. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
If you had a scanner, the most likely use of it would be in a parking lot. It's slow and deliberate. You could scan the license and look at every license plate in the parking lot. But we do not have that right now. You would have to type in the license, if you saw something suspicious, and get the feedback.
So we no longer have we had licensed scanners, but we no longer have.
That is my understanding.
So what happened to them?
The technology and the cost. Sorry about that.
Let's look into that. I'm going back to an email from 2015. The wish list from, this is a wish list from police officers that, $300 per car for the scanner. So let's just follow up with Chad and see what our capabilities are.
Because I've heard from, at the Allegheny League of Municipalities, we had several police chiefs come in and give us a presentation on license scanners. They said this was the greatest thing ever. It's cut down on so many possible like warrants that people were out there. And apparently the cars, as you're driving down the road, it's scanning every license plate it sees. And it's going to red flag someone that needs pulled over. And I thought for sure we had that technology.
Okay, so I think we might be confusing with a driver's license scanner, where they have this is again going back to 2015, where it's an in-car driver's license scanner where they scan your driver's license with your picture on it. So let's just get clarification from Chad and see what their capabilities are. The other thing you mentioned about parking on roads, Chad did weigh in, the acting chief did weigh in on that, thought it would not be a good idea to change any of the current regulations on where's that.
And I've discussed it with him and told him I disagree with him there. I think that we should, as a special circumstance, we shouldn't be afraid to do a special circumstance. It's not necessarily so principle.
Okay, we'll reconvene with public safety.
So, yeah, so I just want to clarify for those following this, or if we would need public safety to come forward with, a motion to change something to instate a change in that. But right now it's sitting with like, the recommendation was don't change it. So your committee will relook at it. Well,
The acting chief
did.
said,
Acting chief.
don't touch it. I didn't realize that you disagree. Not sure what the committee members think and stay away.
I totally agree with our chief, acting chief.
Well, let's have the, because it really needs to come through the committee.
We'll look at it.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel like I have another question that might have been answered. I don't remember now because that was my other question, so. Okay, thank you. President's report. So this month I serve as liaison to the library board, and their president, who had been president for a number of years, moved out of the borough, so that left a president vacancy. And then we filled that last month with Amy Bittner, who had been serving on the library board for a number of years. With that, there was a opening on the library board. The last time that the library board had openings, which was not too long ago at the beginning of the year, there were more applicants than there were able to fill the positions. So they went back into that pool and asked if people were still interested. Those that were interested met with the library board president and had the opportunity to talk with the library board members. They had visited a meeting previously. So that came to the recommendation that I will be putting forth in this motion. So I move that we appoint Philip Della Sala to the library board for a term to expire on January 31st, 2027, as recommended by the library board letter dated June 17th, 2025.
I would second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you very much. And that is the end of my report.
And I want to say I really appreciate not only the residents, but council recognizing what an amazing job the full staff did with July celebration this weekend. Obviously, a lot of people came out for it, which was wonderful. It was blessed with a great day, so that's always really nice. And also recognizing Green Tree Rotaries that did come out to grill the food for the day. I had a little grill snafu here early part of the day, but they were able to work that out, so stand everything went really, really well. So special thanks to the full staff, special thanks to the Rotary. Bid specifications for the pool, they should be completed here within the next 2 weeks. They're under review not only by legal counsel, but Lane Smith, our engineers, just to kind of give the once over, make sure there's nothing that we need to be concerned about. So again, those should be put out to bid, I would say, by the 3rd or 4th week in July, for about 30 days for bidding, and then they will be reviewed and my recommendation based on the bids that we receive. Recreation staff or pool staff, which also kind of crosses over with recreation, they planned 2 movie nights for July. We already have one in June, but we'll have 2 in July. One is on July the 12th, one is on July the 26th. Moana 2 is July 12th, and Teen Beach movie is on July 26th. So we encourage everybody to come out and join this night with the community. And the senior picnic will be on July 27th. That's an indoor picnic, and it will be from 1 to 3. It's free to our residents, and it's $10 for non-residents.
Judy, we had mentioned that we were going to do an official thank you to Intertech about giving them a plaque or a some recognition. PSI, Intertech is PSI, for them to allowing us to park in their parking lot with the overflow of the swimming pool for all these years. You know, but what if they wouldn't, like, they would block that off and they wouldn't let that? Could you imagine how? But you know, we were talking about recognizing.
Yeah, maybe we can do that,
One-
in the August or September meeting, whatever
Yeah.
works best for them.
Yeah, because that would be under my community affairs.
No, no, right, sure.
We want to do that. Okay. Well, then I guess I can make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second, we got a lot of seconds. This motion is adjourned at 9:27 PM. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.